Hey, Divine Ones, I'm Jerome Braggs, the intuitive that teaches you how to travel the path of self-love to a well body and a delicious life. Today's video is number 10. We are a third of the way through my 30-day video challenge. And again, I want to say thank you so much. I've been getting so many messages from you all saying how much these videos have been helping you, how many ahas you've been getting. And again, it just touches my heart. That's truly the intention of me being able to share all this with you, is to serve you in some way. So thank you. Today, I'm going to continue and kind of close off the conversation of how I manifested disease. The last two videos, I talked about how I manifested kidney disease. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how I manifested HIV and AIDS. Now, again, if you know my healing journey, in 2004, I checked into the hospital with what I thought was the flu, but ended up instead being diagnosed with several life-threatening illnesses and 2 terminal diseases, which were kidney disease and HIV, and being told that I had 7 days to live. I had a near-death experience that completely transformed my life and made me aware that the key to healing and actually well-being, meaning living a truly well and delicious life, was to love myself. And that near-death experience began a multi-year journey, which I learned how to do that. Part of that journey was understanding how I manifested the illnesses in the first place so that I could manifest wellness instead. Now, again, a lot of people will say, well, disease gets transferred through sexual contact or needles or whatever. This is looking at the physical plane. And here's the thing to really understand about all things really in reality, but especially about health of the body. Everything starts, the root cause of everything is energy. The root cause of wellness is the energy alignment and energy embodiment with love energy, with your soul's energy, right? That is what is literally the source of wellness. The source of illness is disconnection from that energy somehow. You're being chronically disconnected from the energy of your soul. And the illness shows up as an indicator that you've been disconnected for too long. And the illness will actually be a direct reflection of how you've been disconnected. So it will tell you, and again, the disconnection isn't about what you've been eating or what you've not been, how you've not been sleeping. It's about how you've been thinking and feeling, particularly how you've been thinking and feeling about yourself. So HIV, what I discovered for me, HIV and AIDS, because it was AIDS when I was in the hospital, was the reflection of the energy that I was carrying of shame. When I was a little kid, 2 things happened that began to start this pattern of shame that I carried with me all the way into my adulthood. And one of them was, I was a bigger kid. I was a thicker kid, if you will, and I got teased a lot. I got called fat, I got called chubby, I got called just all the names that you give, that I was made to feel that my body as it was wrong, that it wasn't enough, and it wasn't lovable. And I carried that through my life, feeling that my body there was something wrong with it. And particularly the real message that got planted into my subconsciousness was that my body is not desirable, that I am unattractive to others and I am undesirable. The other thing was, I learned when I was 5 years old that I was attracted to the same gender. That also, there was a lot of messaging in my society and in my culture and in my environment at that time that let me know that that wasn't acceptable. I grew up in a very religious home and in a very religious culture. And that made me, my understanding was, when I was 5, was that being attracted to the same gender meant you were unlovable, you were sinful, and you were wrong. And so I carried this feeling of deep shame about my body and about who I was. And shame is a toxin to our system. There's lots of scientific studies that have been showing up about how holding shame literally drops down the immune system drastically. If you understand it metaphysically and energetically, shame bleeds the energy out of the soul out of the body, Remember in another video, I talked about how the energy of love and the energy of fear can't coexist in the same space at the same time. Shame is a facet of fear. So when you're holding shame in the body, you also have to disconnect a piece of your soul from you in that space, because your soul can't stay in the same space with fear. It's like a light. So if you think about the light and you're blocking the light can't shine in spaces where it's being blocked. Shame blocks the flow of the soul from being in the body. So I held shame all of my life. I wasn't taught how to release shame. I wasn't taught how to love myself as I was when I was a kid. I wasn't taught how to be very appreciative and accepting of my body or my sexuality. So I grew up with immense amounts of shame, and they only expanded and only got bigger the older I got. And so I was bleeding out the energy of my soul chronically and consistently every year as I grew up. And what I became aware of after my near-death experience, and after I had many downloads from Source and conversations with Source about this, was that was the cause. My body was so filled with shame that it was starved of love, and it didn't have the fuel that it needed to be healthy. And the illness that it manifested from this starvation of love was HIV. And HIV was a perfect reflection. Again, remember, disease is going to be a perfect reflection to the energy, because HIV made me feel further undesirable. It made me feel further like something was wrong with my body. And it made me feel unwanted and unlovable. It was just, again, the disease is just a magnification of the energy that you were holding before then. And if you think about it biologically, HIV is literally the immune system attacking the self. That's literally what you're doing when you hold shame. You're attacking yourself with your thoughts. You're telling yourself, you're not lovable. You're rejecting yourself. You're denying a piece of yourself. I used to deny the fat on my body. I would reject it. I didn't want to be fat. I didn't want to be chubby. I thought it was ugly. I thought I was not lovable. And I was going through this attacking myself with my thoughts and my beliefs and the energy I held, because I was attacking myself with my thoughts and my beliefs that I got. Again, it wasn't my fault why I got that, but it was my responsibility. Why I got it was because I was so heavily teased. But I began to hold that in myself, and I began to tease and reject and ridicule myself. And that is an attack on my system at all times. And so my body was just reflecting how I was attacking my own self. And that's how I manifested HIV. That is the energy that manifested the disease. Again, if you do not have an energy, disease is a match, a direct match and a direct reflection to what's going on in your internal state. If you are ill, no matter what type of illness it is reflecting somewhere where you're disconnected from love. If you are not disconnected from love, if you are holding loving thoughts about yourself, if the energy in your body is one of worthiness. Oh, by the way, let me go back. Why shame disconnects you from love is because one of the biggest facets of love is worthiness. That's one of the vibrational facets. Remember, love is a multi-vibrational energy. It's made of many vibrations. One of the vibrations is worthiness. And when we hold shame, we disconnect worthiness from the body. Worthiness is I am enough, unconditionally as is. I accept all of what I am. All of what I am is acceptable. It belongs. All of what I am is appreciable. I appreciate it. I celebrate it. But when we have shame, we say there are parts of me that don't belong. And for me, I was saying my body didn't belong. How it was didn't belong. And my sexuality didn't belong. And so I was disconnecting these parts from the wholeness of my soul. And you can't be healthy when you are disconnected from the wholeness of you. Only your wholeness is well. And that's what I had to learn about that so that I can learn how to stop it. Now, in the videos coming up down the road, I'm going to talk to you about my journey into into shifting those patterns into more loving patterns so that I stopped disconnecting from my soul and started reconnecting to it and re-embodying it and being more love embodied instead of love disconnected. But I wanted to share with you in this video what I learned about how I manifested HIV and AIDS. And I hope this has served you in some type of way in your own journey. Until next time, I love you. Now go love yourself. Bye.